Good morning, Pelham Road. Hope you're having a good week. In the comment section today, I'd be very interested in hearing about the first movie that really scared you. We're not talking about the scariest movie that you've ever seen or a Halloween movie, but a movie that when you saw it, it disturbed you and upset you. And if you can remember about the age that you were when you saw it, put the age, okay? So you got the movie plus the age. Well, for the next couple of days, I'm going to walk you through some of the most insightful sayings of a man named Gordon Livingston. Gordon was a psychiatrist. He passed away a few years ago. He was a West Point grad, served in Vietnam, came back and trained in psychiatry at Johns Hopkins University in child and adult psychiatry, and then practiced in the Baltimore area for over 30 years. Years ago, his son died of leukemia at 6. And he wrote about that in a book, I think it's called something about spring. Here Comes the Spring, or Next Comes Spring, something like that. Gordon Livingston, I'm sure you'll find it. It was a way of working through his grief. And so, after that book, he wrote many books. And here's a few of the titles. Too Old Soon, Too Late Smart. That's the story of all of us. How to Love, The Thing You Think You Cannot Do, and Never Stop Dancing. Well, anyway, I found his writings over the year to be very helpful to me. He has I guess, what I would call a hard-earned wisdom. I mean, when you read a psychiatrist, you expect them to be clinical, and he is that. But the hard-earned wisdom is the pragmatics which he speaks. He doesn't have lofty words that go over your head. Neither is he divorced from the real world that we live in. So he is very aware of our lives. And I've always found his words to be insightful. Of course, he's a writer, so there's things that he says that I struggle with. But I find that oftentimes when I read him, it is an enlightening experience. So, I'm going to give you just a few today of the, maybe a top 10 list. I don't think I'm going to get through 10 of them, but a top 10 list of his most provocative title chapters and sayings. The perfect is the enemy of the good. Well, we hear that a lot today, but Gordon was one of the first to say it. Most of us can do good, he writes, but some hesitate to do the good or their best, waiting instead for the perfect. Perfection is rarely found in a future spouse or your own skills. So share the good and stop waiting until you are perfect. You never will be. I mean, that's great advice. I mean, how many of us wait around and we say, well, we'll do this when, or we'll do this when, and what we're waiting for is perfect circumstances, or for us to be better and more perfect. He's just admitting we're not going to get there. So the perfect is the enemy of the good. Just go ahead and do the good. That spouse you're looking for, that spouse you're living with, they're not perfect. Get over it. You're not either. Let's see. Another one. Feelings follow behavior. We say something like, well, I'll wait until I feel like it to, learn to garden, stop smoking, whatever. The list is endless, changing jobs or so forth. Feelings don't precede actions. Actions precede behavior. After you start looking for the new job, then the feeling will come. After you start going to synagogue, you will feel good about going to synagogue. After you take an afternoon walk, you will feel good about exercising. Feelings follow behavior. Sometimes you just have to put your feelings aside and go out and do the behavior, and then the feelings will come. I think I got time for maybe one or two more. It is a poor idea to lie to yourself. The most important person to tell the truth to is the person you face in the mirror. Only when we tell ourselves the truth can we move forward. I'm in my office at church today. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've said that in this office to people. The scripture is true. We should not lie. We cannot bear false witness. That is not a good way to live a society or conduct a culture. But the worst person to lie to is yourself. Tell yourself the truth, and then you can move forward. And the last one I'll leave you with today is one you've probably heard from a lot of different sources, but nevertheless, he says it. There is nothing more pointless than doing the same thing and expecting different results. We can't just repeatedly do the same things and think that somehow, magically, things are going to be different tomorrow. Well, I ran out of time today, but I think I'll hit a couple more of these tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday. Bye now.